Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Craving Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for a very special night and a very special treat indeed. Tonight, we're joined by a guest that I'm so thrilled to talk to and to hear so much insight from about an amazing film that I talk about literally every single day. And you guys know from all my videos and live streams how much I talk about this movie, and we talk about it as a community, and we love to theorize. And even now, how much we reflect upon it and do watch parties on it. And of course, I'm talking about Scream 6. That's right, guys. My favorite franchise and the sixth entry in it. And what a great film it was. So many new things introduced in the franchise we had not seen before. And and a lot of those things we saw, in fact, most of the things we saw on screen, this individual directly had a hand in that visual that we saw. So I'm very excited to hear all about it. We're going to have a great night. And before we do that, just want to let you guys know because she's going to stay with us an entire hour, which is so generous of her to do. But an hour, it sounds like a long time, but you guys know this goes by so fast. And I have questions for her. I know you guys have questions too. And so we'll get to as many as possible. But as always, we'll not get to everyone's questions. There's just not enough time to get to everyone's questions. So if we don't, just know it's not a personal thing. You know that. There's just not, it's not practical. But I will say this, if you have a burning question that you would like Michelle to answer or a comment you'd like her to see, anything like that, you do have a way to make sure we get it done. Just send in a super chat. I will get a notification. My moderator tonight, the Spicy General. What's up, Spicy General? Val, my good friend, thank you for moderating the chat. And I will make sure I get an alert from her that I have a super chat, and we'll make sure that every one of those are addressed by Michelle before the stream is over. Okay. And we'll get to as many as we can otherwise as well. But just remember, you do have that option if you want to make sure to get that up on the screen. Okay. Other than that, guys, I don't want to waste any more time before bringing Michelle on because our time is limited. So please, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome to the stream in the chat, give a very warm welcome to the production designer for Scream 6. Please welcome Michele Laliberte. Welcome, Michelle.
Hello. Hello, Stephen. Hello,
It's,
everybody.
it's such a pleasure to have you tonight. I genuinely want to say thank you so much for making the time out of your schedule to spend with me and my community here tonight. This is such a cool thing, and I appreciate it.
It's a real pleasure to be here with you guys. Really, always fun to talk about this one. So anytime.
Oh, I love that. Love it. Now, I tell you, before we get into Scream
Sorry.
6, which we're going to spend, obviously most of the night on, because there's so many questions and so many things to talk about. But what I'd like to do is, because you have a very impressive resume in the film industry, a lot of films and projects you've worked on in art and art direction, supervising, all those things. So I would just love to hear. I always like to ask, like, where did it all begin for you? Because it's such an incredible career to get into. So if you could, where did the passion begin for you to do this type of creativity?
Movies. Movies came to me kind of by accident. I would say, I studied architecture,
Okay.
and then went into theater design for set and costume design. And I studied 3 years at the National Theatre School of Canada. And when I came out, it's a friend of mine who was in architecture school with me, who was looking for someone to draw sets for a movie, and he was an art director already. And by the time I came out of theater school, because I did that after my architecture, anyways, he already was in the movie business, and so he hired me for a couple of weeks to do some technical drawings for sets. So I thought I was going to do that for like 2 weeks and never do that again. But you do another one, and then you get called for another one,
Hmm.
and then I met people who took me, onto bigger projects. Claude Paré, to name him. He was like the first art director I worked with in Montreal, and now has a fantastic career internationally. So
Wow.
yeah, I was his art director when he did, well, or assistant, and I worked for him or with him for 6 years or something. And then he took me on to bigger projects, Day After Tomorrow, Some of All Fears.
Mm.
We did Aviator with Martin Scorsese, which was like just a amazing experience for
Wow.
me as a young, like architect and theater
Yeah.
design. So I really, what I loved about the movies when I fell in it, really, like when I fell in the bucket, I just love the team. That when you're working in theater, often there's like on the shows I was doing, because I was doing smaller shows when I was coming out of the theater school. I was like, I was on my own. You were
Okay.
working alone, right? You were doing your own
Yeah.
painting and your own sewing for the costumes, and it's like you and
Wow.
yourself discussing what you like best. But you get on a movie team, and all of a sudden there's like hundreds of people who
Mhm.
just care so much about what it's going to look like, and from the director to the actors and everybody in between. It's like there's like so many people who care for the image, the lighting, it's the camera
Wow.
position. There's so much detail and passion that I was just drawn into that, and it became really hard for me to go back to architecture, which I do at times, and I like going back to it. It's like something I love doing. But
Yeah.
whenever there's a movie that calls, I'm like can't resist the pull.
Yeah.
It's like the group. It's really the team, and on this one on Scream, it was the same. I mean, it was really what you come out of when the project is done. It's nice when the movie does well on the box office and everything. It's like
Yeah.
it's good, but what you leave with is the people you met, and the
Yes.
relationships you build, and the crew you meet, and so there's always new people. Every movie is a different bunch of people, or some of the same and some different, and
Mhm. Mhm.
it's just magical. And I think that's what I like the most about it, the
That's
people.
awesome. Yes, I can imagine, and so many relationships form, right? And then
Exactly.
and you never know, especially being in I can imagine it's such a niche industry, right? Where there's so many paths that cross again over time, I would imagine, right? And there's such specific roles. And so I bet you come across folks you meet in one film and then maybe 3
Yeah.
years later you come across them again, right? In a different
Yeah, well,
project. And
Montreal is a small town, big town, small town. Depending how you like it, how you look at it. But in the movie
right.
business, there's like a family. So
Yeah.
you meet people, you get on board with them, and out the people that come from outside, they come, and some come back, and that's always nice. When this the second time around is always most fun, because there's just a layer of you know who I am, I know who you are, I know what you
Yeah.
like, you know what I can give you, and it's like there's like a layer that's off, so it's
Mhm.
it's more it's easier the
Yeah.
second and third time that people come, but it's often they come once and then they go somewhere else, but
Mhm.
it's we build the relationships anyways, and it's a small business. In the end, everybody knows everybody, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
the I think the career builds on I heard your name from this or this person, and they recommended me. So it's more about like um, word that goes around, and the phone
Mhm.
call. The phone rings, and you get another one, and you jump on it thinking it might be the last one, so you're gonna give it all you have, and then there's another one
Yeah.
coming, and the
That's so
first thing you
great.
know, you've been in this for 25 years. It's like
Wow.
time just flies.
Yes. Wow. So let's talk about that now. So for those of us who don't know, and granted, I won't claim that I do either. Really, I think I have an idea, but could you kind of explain to us and educate us on what does it really fully mean to be a production designer on a major motion picture? Like, what does that really entail?
Well, it's a it's a job that's mostly about communicating ideas and a
Okay.
vision to a team, and
Okay.
it's not only my vision and my ideas, but like directors' ideas, DOP's ideas, producers' ideas, script ideas. So
Okay.
it's like channeling all of these information and giving it. a form that is brought to the camera, brought to the screen by a whole department. So the production designer is like at the head of the art department, and
Okay.
there's art directors working in there to support the crew. But I
Mhm.
also work with a key head of departments within the art department. So there's like
Okay.
a head decorator, greensman, graphic artists, head carpenter, head plasterer, head painter. So all of these people, the picture cars, a whole
Yeah.
department of picture cars. So all of these people are like working with the production designer to create this, and they all have their own teams. So it's like a big
Mhm.
tree,
Yes.
they're all working together
Wow.
to bring that to life. So a production designer is like a interpreter, I can say.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yes.
you're like it's like your interpretation of the information you're getting from all these different parameters, script and everybody, and how you are transmitting that and what you want to do with it to the crew, whether it's by communicating, scribbling, illustrations, rendering 3D models. So all the tools that we have to communicate what we have. So there's a lot of work too with like location people, location
Mm.
manager, and all of their department,
Wow.
finding the locations to start the sets,
Mhm.
to see what we can find that exists, and then we decide what we build. And so there's many departments that
Wow.
are connected to the design.
Ooh, wow. That is tremendous. That is an incredible amount of responsibility. Wow. That's a Michelle, that is a lot of moving parts, my friend. That is I had no idea it was that wow. That is impressive. That is really impressive. That is well, thank you for sharing that because now I'm educated on what that really means. That's
Yeah,
a whole another level of respect for production designers, like to the next level, because that is so much you have to be responsible for. My goodness.
you make
Whoa.
it sound scarier than it is.
It's terrifying. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, there's a lot of
Oh,
pleasure to be had in all of these departments too. It's not just like a big burden.
bro, that's sure. That's fair. Oh my gosh. Let's see. We got a super chat that's come through. Let's go to the chat, and we have a question from the Spicy General, which is my good friend Val, and moderating the chat with a $10 super chat to support the channel. Thank you, Val. She says, "Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight, Michelle. How I have to ask." Okay, we're gonna jump right into it. I was saving this, Val, for later. You're gonna take us there now. All right, that's okay. How was it putting together the shrine and subway? See, she's going right for the gold, man. Like we're just diving in at the very up front. Um, oh boy. Okay. Well, you know what? I've got some pictures to share. So Michelle, how would you like me to put? Maybe I should put the pictures up. What do you think? And then we
I
can
didn't
talk
read
through
the
it.
question because I put you so
Oh,
small on my
I'm so
screen.
sorry. Yeah, let me read that again. I'm sorry. So
Sorry.
so so that's okay. So Val's question was, she wants to ask, how was it putting together the shrine and the subway scenes? What was that like to do? Um,
Yeah, we can put the photos and I can describe
yes,
if you want. But
let me do that. Let me do that
yeah.
right now. Let me pull up the. Which one would you like to start with? Anyone in particular? Would you like to do the shrine or
Well, let's
subway?
keep the shrine for the dessert and let's talk
I
about
agree.
the subway.
All right, we'll start. All right, I've got three subway photos. Let me start with this one. How about this one?
Okay, well, that's a long story, but
Okay.
the subway scene was in the original script that I got. It was one of the things that screamed the most New York.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
said New York the loudest in the script we had. So it was very precious to the directors that we would keep it in the script, although there were a lot of talks about taking it off.
Oh no.
It really was discussed because it was such an expensive one to do. Uh, we looked into going to New York. There's subway stations you can rent for filming. Then it would have been
Oh.
bringing the crew to New York, so that was out of the question because of financially and logistically was heavier what we wanted
Hmm.
to do. So we tried to rent a car, and that didn't fly either. We had structural problems with our stages, not problems, but challenges. Let's say the floors couldn't hold that weight. It was like they're
Ah,
so heavy.
okay.
Bring that in the stage. So that went off the drain as well. So we ended up needing to build it quite late in the game. And so that was the biggest challenge about the train was the time we had to build it.
Whoa.
So yeah, we completely built that from scratch. It was uh, amazing crew, carpenters crew. Monsieur Brochu and his team did amazing work. We had a set designer, Radia Slimy, who came in just for that project to replicate. I mean, to we looked at photos. We didn't have a 3D models or plans, so she generated the 3D model from pictures we pulled. It was like getting the real train, getting which train was on that line, and
Hmm.
um, so
Wow.
a bunch of research, visual research, and then the set design happened for a couple of weeks, and then we started to build that
Wow.
thing with all the
Wow.
detail that it involved and the subway stations to receive it. Yeah, I don't know if you see on this one, but if you zoom in and we actually built one train car, and
Okay.
and about midway there, after the first car, there's a mirror, and then you see the same car again.
Is
But
that right?
we used a little
Oh.
theatrical magic trick, you know.
How about that?
So it was doubling up the extras as well, which was interesting, you know. But
Interesting.
when
I did not know that. Good. I did not catch that at all.
did you see it? Well, now that you know, you can see it, right? There's like the
Yes.
person taking the picture is seen at the back. Patrick, you can see Patrick, the our on-set dresser, taking the photo at the back. But so
Okay.
we built a station on stage, and we moved the car in the station, and all the traveling scenes were done within a black curtain box with lighting effects, and so it was a team effort with the lighting department, DOP. Really nice. And now the painters did a great job on the aging and everything. So that's the second stage. The second station we
Oh,
did we
okay.
did two. I mean, we did a changeover of two stations in the one same set. So you saw the first columns that you saw in the first image were green and circular, and then
Yes.
one are like burgundy, and so it was all based on research. You know, see, so we changed the columns, we changed the staircase,
Ah, you sure did.
and changed all the graphics and the camera positions. And it is take see on this one the staircase is wider.
Yes, it
So
is.
we rolled in a second set of staircase to widen
Wow.
the staircase, and a couple of days of changeover, and we were back on the
Goodness.
set shooting it in a different look. So yeah,
Wow.
and it was a huge challenge too for costumes. You know, it was like an enormous amount of extras. There was a lot
Mm.
of questions about whether we could use all of these horror characters in our movie. So all the rights and everything were discussed, and it was
Yeah.
like a
Hmm.
big subject, long effort on the costume side too. So, uh,
Yeah.
but when we walked on that set, it was really magical. It really worked
Wow.
well. You really felt like you were in it, and yeah, with
Hmm.
these the extras and the energy of all the crowd. So it was
Ooh.
a real fun set to film, definitely.
Amazing. Just amazing. I just this just adds such a dimension now when I rewatch the movie. It's like, really, I'm serious. Like, this is so incredible. It just is this inside knowledge. I just what a tremendous job. I'll just have to applaud you right now and say, amazing job. Seriously.
Well,
Goodness.
amazing team. It's nothing like anybody could do alone, you know. It's like
Wow.
I had an art director doing this specific set with me. It was Philippe Laure. That's the interior. Véronique Meunier also was really involved in the art direction of this one, of the interior of the train. There's a whole lot of graphics happening in there, so the graphic artists
Yeah.
were all out with creating all of these ads and clearing all the rights and all the images we could use. So we
Yeah.
really had a lot of fun. So we can make a better world was kind of a fun thing to put in the back of Ghostface, I thought. So
It is actually.
there's
That's
like
really funny.
there's a couple of cute hints in the graphics in this movie. It was a lot of graphic fun, but the subway was particularly full of those little winks.
Yes. Wow, that is really, really impressive, and, it looks so real in the movie. I'm telling you, it looks so real. I mean, you really would not believe it was on a sound stage, and just kudos to pulling that off. Because
Thank you.
I personally, if you had said like, and of course I do know, I mean, I knew it was filmed at Mel's, like I knew that, but had I not known that, I would have believed if you would have said, "Oh yeah, we went to New York and we shot it there." I would have been like, "Oh, makes sense. I believe it. That's what it looks like." So well done. And the mirroring thing, that's brilliant.
Not bad, huh? Not bad. I mean,
Not bad.
it took some convincing, but it was worth pushing.
Absolutely, 100%. Um, Now let's see here. I guess we'll get into the shrine. I don't. Do you want to save the shrine till later, or do you want to go ahead and do it now?
No,
What
we
do you
can
think?
discuss this one. I mean, we're already,
Let's do it.
you know,
Let's do it.
deep
Okay.
in our hour already, but
We are. That's true. We are. We're almost
it's
halfway
going
there.
fast. Yeah. Well, Shrine. Shrine was a original script too. I mean, we got the script. The
Okay.
Shrine was always the Shrine. It was there,
Hmm.
scripted in a warehouse to start with.
Okay.
So we were looking for warehouses and locations, and walking Montreal looking for warehouses, and and we came out with a couple of warehouses that the directors were coming, and I pushed the idea of looking for other types of places because the warehouse wasn't giving me much thrills, I have to say. But I was just like not understanding what I had to do in a warehouse with a bunch of
Hmm.
items from other crimes, and like I wasn't inspired by the warehouse at all. But
Okay.
it could have been there, and it could have grown on me. So we were, working it, and we pitched this theater idea because the script was so full of links to Scream 2, which
Hmm.
was starting in a movie theater, finishing in a
Yes.
theater.
Yep.
That I thought, well, if we do a Scream 2 wink, we kind of have to slide some form of a theater in there, and so I pitched that to the directors on the Zoom call before they came. And I didn't even know we could find an abandoned theater in Montreal. I didn't know of one. So I know the city well, but I had
Hmm.
no idea where we could find an empty theater. So I was like kind of pitching that like if I was come from out of town, like being a little.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna act like it's gonna be possible and just gonna pitch it. And
Sure.
the locations found this theater, which wasn't closed and wasn't damaged at all, but they were just out after COVID. Their
Hmm.
schedule was not filled and could be moved around a bit,
Okay.
and they squeezed us. They could squeeze us in their schedule. So we
Nice.
presented it to the directors when they came, and everybody just loved it. It was
Hmm.
just so it just felt perfect for the scene. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, it brought it another another layer. That's what you're seeing now is an illustration that we did before the set was actually done. We
Okay.
had a very short time on the location, and we had to bring everything and know exactly where everything was going to be put. It wasn't like we're going to just guess where we're going to put things.
Yeah.
So all the action had been rehearsed, and before we had taped it down and used cardboard boxes to
Hmm.
rehearse the fights in there, and to see
Wow.
what they were going to fall on and how it was going, whatever, what needed to break, where they needed to climb. These scaffolding things were added, and so it was more
Wow.
like we built the set with the stunt coordinator
Hmm.
Andy. He was really near us, and the directors were there with the DOP, and they rehearsed with the actors in the space, and then
Wow.
and the stunts, and then meanwhile. Meanwhile, at the ranch, everybody was like looking for all these artifacts and trying to see what we're going to put in that shrine, and how it was
Yes.
going to be, what was going to fill it, and how and what was meaningful. And there were discussions about whether we were going to go all out with stab and scream, or just scream, or like what kind of a fan Richie was, and all these discussions, and what he was really
Hmm.
caring for. And we quickly, with the writers, uh, agreeing and pushing for that idea that it was going to be more about the killings, the real killings, or real,
Okay.
you know what I mean, real
Right.
real screen killings, uh,
Uh-huh.
rather than the stab versions of those killings. So
Okay.
we went, you know, through all the movies and pulled all the specific elements from each murder victim,
Hmm.
and Ghostface character, uh,
Okay.
elements that could make sense, and we created a big giant Excel file with all of these listed, with a little photo and a bit of a kind of a display it could be put in, and with other, like, as grouping them together by
Okay.
events, and we showed that to the directors in a meeting with producers, and everybody was just like, oh my god, yes, we gotta have this, we gotta have this. And it just became a big, they just couldn't believe we were gonna bring all of this to life, right? They were like, you could do this. I'm like, well, we're certainly gonna try, you know, we're gonna do all we can to do it all. And everybody pushed, you know, it was like props, Claire Alary, headmaster, prop master, who was, you know, doing some of it. Suzanne Cloutier and her team of decoration worked on some elements, and then the costume department were all over the place with all the replicas of like Stu's robe, and all
Hmm.
the, you know, Madame Loomis's kit and Billy Loomis
Yes.
t-shirt and where's the blood stain, and like recreating all of these details. So
Yes.
there's all these props and some construction, a big star where, um,
Uh-huh. Derek. Derek was
yeah,
that?
where Sydney's boyfriend was died,
That's
was killed, and so all of
yes.
the garage door was replicated, the big
Yes.
mask. So everything we could find. We had a big giant banner. I don't know if you can see it on in the
Uh-huh.
movie or not. It says, you know, "Happy Birthday, Roman," which was
Yes.
from the third one, and I thought it
Uh,
was really funny to put it up there.
yes.
It was like,
It's
uh,
awesome.
we were really, yeah, really playing with the idea that Richie was creating something that for him was beautiful. You know, it was like a work of
Mhm.
art. He was like
Yeah.
caring for this thing, and had collected those things with his dad being in the police, so he would have access to
Mhm.
all these crime evidence
Mhm.
elements. And having put them in a place where he could then project his own movie with his elements to, you know, to celebrate his passion
Yeah.
for this stab franchise, you know. So
Yes.
so that was like the idea behind the shrine, you know, that it was meant to be visited by fans that he
Mhm.
wanted to put together. And that's why, you know, I thought it was interesting too, because on the in the yeah, that's exactly that's
Ooh.
all our robes. uh,
Wow. It's
at
awesome.
some point, we thought we were going to suspend them, but it was like too shaky, and they were moving all the time, and it was like really weird. So we really went for these mannequins, which were working really nicely. But when we put
Yeah.
them on, yeah, with the lighting, Brett did an amazing
It looks
job with
so
the
good with
lighting.
the lighting. It's like perfect. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a whole family. And this whole idea about this, like, I mean, having them all together too, and having all of these, it was like there could be more in, you know,
Mhm.
you didn't know when you were on the stage which one was going to be moving or not. So they played more in the within the displays in the end than on the stage. You know, it
Mhm.
was like with the rehearsals, it in the end was more interesting to be
Yeah.
down with all the elements and seeing more of those, and
Mhm.
keeping the finale on the stage. I really love the shot behind the screen. We played with this idea of the really really old movie theater screen that you see through uh,
Yes. Yes.
projections, and they filmed some like that's an illustration we did for with camera tests projected on, just to show the directors the structure, the idea of the structure, and the amount of ripping through the canvas, because they had to go through the screen. We
Yes.
wanted
Yes.
the canvas to be really old, so our head painter and I were on stage and ripping it apart and painting it,
That's so cool.
making it. So it was a
Wow.
nice one. But yeah, and it created two zones. You know, when the screen was down, and you see Sam come through
Mhm.
the through the screen, and for the
Yes.
final attack. So it was a fun. This theater space really gave us many areas, like the lobby, where you have all the
Yes.
candy, well, the candy and the kissing and the fighting with
That's right.
So there's a lot happening in different places, balcony scenes, exactly, the concession stand. So
And exactly how old were those Raisinets, Michelle?
they were not that old. We just add a lot of dust to them. They
That's
could have
funny.
eaten them if they wanted
I was
to.
like, I was wondering if someone actually ended up eating those whenever they got through filming.
They were meant to look old, but yeah, we make all of these posters from all the movies too, like
Love
which would
that.
have collected them. And now the paint on the wall wasn't peeling apart at all. It's like our painters who created that effect with, uh, preparing all this peeling paint in the warehouse before in the workshop, and then we applied that on like wallpaper,
Oh, that's so cool.
so it made
Wow.
it look really run down, but this theater is like really nice and fresh and functioning right now.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's so amazing how just, it's amazing how this is made to look. The illusion of it is just amazing, It's and it's so it looks so real and I love how you can just escape into this imaginatory, the imagination of it all. You go into that. I always just say like, well, when you're watching a film, you're going into the imagination of the filmmakers. Then you're actually in their minds at that
It's
point.
true.
Literally, you are, and
That's
this
true.
is it's so neat to be able to experience that on the screen. Even how you
Totally.
made this lobby look just like this old, wore out, worn down theater lobby, and but then we have something like this I want to show that I just fell in love with from the moment I saw it, and it's the mural.
Yes.
Oh, now tell me how this came about. Whose idea was this? Because
That's
this
me.
is awesome.
That's me. That's my idea.
Yay!
Yay!
All right, guys, let me just stop this. Let me stop the show. So, guys, everyone in the chat watching this lady on the screen, Miss Michelle, right here, you're looking at, this was her. All her idea right here. When you watch the movie,
Yeah, the
you now know who
illustration.
created that right there.
The illustration was done by Mathieu Duchesne, but and it's Léa Santini who painted it on the wall. But yeah, it was. It's actually the image of. We took the photo of Ghostface after he killed Dewey, right? We're in the
Yes.
hospital and he's
Okay.
turning around.
Yep.
That's the image. So we took that image and made a graffiti of it, like a moment where I thought Ghostface was like really bad and like
Yes.
the worst he ever was to me,
Hmm.
killing Dewey.
Yes.
So
Oh, my heart still broke. It's
so
still
that's like
broken.
why this image and it was like a welcome tag from the creator of the museum to the fans that he was going to bring in. So it's like coming by the back entrance,
Uh huh.
and this was actually part of the museum to me. It was like a
Yeah.
little secret, not secret, but like a public display of like possession of this space and like. But
Yes.
it could have looked like it was a bit of a giveaway, but I think well, it was meant to be displayed, so I don't think it was a secret place in the start. It was secret
Hmm.
because nobody knew about it, but to Richie, it wasn't a secret. It was going to be a public thing. It was going to be something he
Yeah.
was going to celebrate. So that's where this graffiti came in. It was giving us a little texture in the alleyway, and it's a nice entry to this
Yes. Yes. It's beautiful. I love that image. Every time
yeah.
I see it, I'm like, oh, it's so like
Brings
I.
New York. It brings Ghostface and
Yeah.
New York together, like texture and so graffiti. It was a
Yes.
good.
It does. Yeah. It completely does. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so
Uh.
that and the shrine itself. I mean, you're talking about being in the mind of but really when we went on stage the first time and the location when it was all set and lit, and it was lit exactly like the illustration or almost exactly like the illustration. So even for us, it was like walking in the drawing or walking in a something you thought was always just like ideas, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden it becomes a reality, so we're all falling into that world at the same time. it's
I
it's
bet.
surprising for us too to see how close to what we had in mind, how
Hmm.
close to that it becomes.
I bet that's really cool to go from imagining it to drawing it out or conceptualizing it in some format, and then seeing it with your own eyes in real, like I say, real life, but in like actual in front of you, actually in front of you.
Yeah.
That's really got to be a really cool and fulfilling, I would think, too, as an artist to
Yeah, it's
see
really
that.
nice. But I mean, to me, the best thing is when the directors, show it, like it, and celebrate it. It's like
Yes.
you really feel like you did your job well, and the whole team can be proud of, like, what we worked so hard for. It's
Oh yeah.
really gratifying. So the first celebration comes when the directors smile. It's like that's where
Yes.
the fun is.
I can imagine all
And
that
then
hard
seeing all
work.
the comments online, I have to say that when the movie came out and all the comments about the shrine and how people, enjoyed it, and were looking deep into it and trying to see everything we hid, and I was like
Yes.
really feeling like I wasn't done for nothing. I mean, I I was even working on it. I think I didn't realize how, deeply loved this franchise was. I mean, I discovered it as I went through it, but after this movie came out, it just became like a reality to me.
Yes. Oh, I can only imagine. And we were just talking backstage how congratulations on winning the MTV Best Movie of the Year and Best Fight Sequence. Congratulations, Michelle.
It was
That's
amazing. Yeah, that's like
yes.
congratulations to the fans for voting so strongly on this movie. It was like it was their word, it was their voice that was heard at that in that vote. And definitely. And the fight sequence was actually another fun location to work on. That wasn't on a stage. It could have been and probably should have been on a stage set, considering all of the action that we had to do in it. But the locations found a great apartment, a great loft,
you
with an
know,
owner who was willing to play with us,
okay.
and it was a challenging location because it was so glass, so much glass, so many windows.
Yeah.
We wanted New York, so it was great to have this view. It was Montreal, but like city
Mhm.
skyline
Yeah.
behind, and but filming at night was really, not considerable, for not a possibility for the full length of the shooting we had to do in there. So we had to do some scenes during the day and close off, black out the windows for filming it like as if it was
Ah,
night. So it was quite
okay.
a challenge for the grips and everybody, lighting and camera for reflections and seeing your camera in the glass, at night. So
Oh
there
yeah.
was a lot of technical challenges in there, but it turned out amazing. And the fact that we could go out on that balcony and be in the city outside and come back in the apartment and everything, I think that,
Wow.
yeah, Guy and James came back to Montreal to rewrite the scene, especially for that location, to make sure the action could be happening in there and that it would work. And then the stunt guy
Mhm.
came in and did some, rehearsals. And it
Mhm.
was and Courtney did an amazing job in it too. So and her stunt person that was playing part, but she did quite a bit of her own stunts actually.
Okay.
So it was,
Wow.
yeah, it was a really challenging location. But I was when I saw the MTV, I was like, well, that's one that we didn't do for nothing. We didn't push for
No
nothing.
doubt. That's right.
It
All
came
that
out.
hard work it got you an award for best fight sequence of the year.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, nice one. That's
oh,
the apartment. Yeah. So
that's
Suzanne
gorgeous.
Cloutier and Léa Valérie Le Tourneux were the decorators on that set. It's
Oh,
an amazing set, and Mathieu
wow.
Giguère was the art director. We had to do some stunt columns and soft floors and soft concrete pillars because she was banging on concrete,
Ah,
and then the breakaway bookcase, exactly. So that was made
yes.
of some parts of it were made of like balsa wood and were scored by the effects team.
Wow.
And so yeah, it was like a one take. We do it once and we hope it all goes well, because setting it back up is going to take us a whole other couple hours.
Oh, dang.
So, and then you're on the elevator on the 14th floor or whatever.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
so you
Oh
cannot bring
gosh.
another bookcase that easily. So it
Oh,
was like a one shot and it worked perfectly. So
oh,
all
good. It,
turned
it
out
looks
well.
great.
The stars were well aligned for that one. Yeah.
Oh, one take, and it was
Yeah.
one and done.
One and
Oh,
done.
well, we've got some couple of super chats that have come in. Let me go ahead and pull this one up here from Mario. Mario with a $10 super chat for the channel. Thank you, man. Says Scream 6 was an awesome film. Michelle, I love the lighting used in this film. It looked moody and atmospheric. How was it styling the characters' homes, especially Sam and Tara's apartment?
Ah, that's a good question. Um, well, the apartment was it was a big, it was fun. I mean, we styling it was like the icing on the cake when we were at the styling stage. We had to like based on the location we found, build a layout for the interior that would suit the action. And then we had we started with three rooms. Like Sam had a room too that we never go into, but so we started with like the three rooms and ended up doing two. And we were trying to give the girls different characters and have it be a place where, like, Sam being a little bit more mature wasn't gonna be just like a student place, but more like a moody and comfy and like a hub for the core four, like
Mm-hmm.
a safe space,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, voila. So Léa Valérie, again here, Léa Valérie Le Tourneux and Suzanne Cloutier, the decorators, were working on this one with me. We went into warm colors like throughout the film. We tried to keep, well, we kept away from reds all up until the end where we get into the theater, which is fully red.
Mm-hmm.
And you hop on the red line of the train to go there. But before that, like, there was basically no red in the design. So this apartment was in the warmer colors, and then the boys, Greg and Jason's apartment, we went into greens and blues and colder colors. Uh, it was actually the same set, the same walls. We modified some, like the layout. Some walls were changed, and we removed the brick wall, but basically it was the same frame. We redressed the same space, so it looked like they were
Ah,
both living in the same areas of university neighborhood.
yeah.
So it was like minor details you can tell, but we really tried to. We changed the entrance, so
Okay.
it really flipped the geography of it. But it was the same space, so it was like a repaint and a redecorate kind of place.
Yeah.
Stylize. I mean, there was a lot of discussion. We discussed more about the guys. The directors were really open to our suggestions. We made mood boards for the rooms of the girls and the boys, apartments,
Mm-hmm.
and showed them the mood boards and a discussion about tonalities, and had the discussion about lighting and lamps with Brett and how he wanted to do that. I think all of the everything is happening at night. A lot of it is happening at night, and it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
barely lit or very dim,
Okay.
which I liked a lot, to work with. So we could play with texture on the walls, like heavy paint and
Okay.
layers. So our painters like rolled really layers and layers of thick paint and sanded and used it. So it was a really nice patina in the girls'
Yeah.
apartment, especially. We really put a lot of care into that. And it really looked, I mean, it was big. It was a big apartment for a New York apartment.
I
But
know. I know. It was.
happening in it. So when we started by taping the lines of the plan on the stage floor to walk it with the directors and the DP, and to see, how we could, and they were not much into like wilding walls to shoot as if the apartment was really small. They'd rather have the camera inside and film it like a location, film. So
Yeah.
that was their approach to it. So we ended up with a little bigger apartment than that would be in New York, but
Sure.
with
Yeah.
the camera being in it, it gives it a sense of it being a little smaller.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a, yeah, it was a really we discovered who these characters were as we were
Yes.
doing it. There
Yep.
wasn't much information, backstory, like who are they,
It's true.
what are they like, who are these girls. Like in five, you
Mm-hmm.
don't know where they live. You don't,
No,
you see their mom's place, but like it's their first time they're in a place of their own.
that's
So
right.
it was all to be imagined and discussed, and so it was really about mood boards and like, yes, this is her, this is not her, this is more Mindy, this is more, you know. So by it was more like by elimination of trying to carve out like
Yeah,
who these characters were.
definitely.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it was a discovery for us too, but we're happy with the look.
Oh, it did look everything looks great. Honestly, it looks so good. Mario, thank you for your super chat. What a great question. Um, Spicy General is coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Val. It says, what are the processes you go through to get a set design together?
That's a long question. Gonna get me chatting for 2 hours with no voice. Yeah, sorry about that, by the way.
Oh,
It's
it's
like
okay.
wrong timing for a recording, but
It's all
yeah,
good.
strange voice and an accent, all about it. So yes, like set design. Well, there's a team behind the set design. Again, there's set designers involved on this movie. Amazing set designers, the best ones in Montreal, if I can say. So I'm gonna name them because I love them.
Yeah.
Guy Pigeon, Céline Lampron, and Radia Slaimi. And Juliette Mézé came to help us with location work as well. So we had a couple of set designers. They did a great job. Like if you take an apartment, for example, we had some people work on the exterior of the apartment.
Mhm.
All the relationship with the location. It was a reproduction, exact reproduction of the fourth floor of a location that we brought on stage. So we had someone survey the location. So first of all, go take measurements of the place we're gonna match the exterior of, where the windows are positioned. So we have to do an interior that suits these predefined parameters. And
Mhm.
then what does the action need to be inside? Okay, he needs to come in. She needs to see him through the window in this angle. So she's gonna sit here. She's gonna see Danny in his apartment. When she's gonna be in her bedroom, she can see Danny, and he can see him that ghost face is in there, but she doesn't see Danny. And all of these discussions happen on Zoom calls and scribblings with the directors
Wow.
online, and pitching ideas of like, it could be done like this, could be done like that. Nah, I don't like this thing. This is better here. So it was like a bunch of like spinning ideas. Then we lock a footprint. We tape it on the floor of the stage. They walk it. We readjust sizing, and
Wow.
then we finalize the construction drawings. That's Céline Lampron working on the inside of the for the construction of the plans inside of the look of the space. So all the details of the moldings and doors and windows, and the lobby was actually from another building, not the same building as the exterior we were matching. So the lobby was somewhere else. So we were recreating this lobby exactly because she could open the door to the apartment and come in. So this was on stage, but when they were running down the stair, they were on the location that was exactly the same lobby. So we had to reproduce that staircase 100% the same staircase. So it was again your survey measurements of the staircase and the lobby, and then all of these the drawings are done and verified. And sorry about the voice again. And then we start to build. We start to build. The construction starts on the set, and it's quite a fast process actually. The We had to take molds of the bricks to replicate the bricks because they had a particular texture and color. So we had a plaster crew come in and do these skins, like moldings, big boards of like pieces of bricks that were applied as panels on our wall.
Okay.
Um, and then painters come and do their magic so that it looks the same, and layers of patina inside, and set dressing comes in, and we
Mhm.
had a backing done because when you were looking at the windows, you could see outside. So then you have to think what's going to be outside, how much we're going to see, what kind of
Wow.
backing done custom that looked just like the back of the street. But at the front, we rented a backing that was existing to act like another street across, because we had curtains in front and you could see it much. It was in the distance, and so looking for a backing and shipping the backing and hanging the backing and lighting the backing. So all of that before we're ready to film, and then there's some rehearsals in the set and adjustments, lighting, and off we go.
Whew. Wow. Val, what incredible. Just incredible. And there's so much that goes on that just that we just don't have any idea when you sit down and you hit play. There's so much involved, and I have so mad respect for everything that you do, Michelle, and just incredible. And wow, it's gonna change how I watch the movie, and from now on, I'm gonna remember all these stories and all this insight you've shared, and like, ooh,
Watch it again and again, yeah.
yes, totally. I
And not just this
absolutely,
movie, like any movie, it's like all the movies. They all have this, a lot of
yes,
amazing talents behind them.
true.
It's
Very good point. You're right. Every
yeah,
movie,
watch them all with the same eyes. Yeah.
yes, the same as that's right. Now, guys, again, I know you're going to submitting questions, and we are starting to wind down. We've got about 7 more minutes with Michelle, and so as I promised, super chats always go to the front of the line, and so we have another super chat that's come through, and then we'll probably have time for maybe one or two more questions, maybe just at the very end, and then we'll be wrapping it up. So this is the time. If you do have any more super chat questions you want to send in, you want to send them in now because we're literally about 5-6 minutes away from unfortunately having to say goodnight. But Michelle's been so gracious tonight with her time. Ben has sent in a $5 super chat to the channel. Thank you, man. It says, "What are your favorite projects you've worked on?" Oh,
Ooh, that's a tough question. I mean, that's it, because every time it's like you have to fall in love with the crew, right? With the group,
mm-hmm.
with the script, with the story, with the people. To be able to do your job, you kind of have to really, just dive into it. So, um, well, my favorite ones, and that's a tough question. This one is close to my heart because it's so recent and all fresh. It's like a fresh wound, right?
Yes, I can imagine.
So I really had a great time on this one. But well, I had a blast on even some small projects. But we shot in Montreal a couple of weeks, a long time ago, of Benjamin Button.
Mm-hmm.
That was a just a, like a gift from life, to do that movie.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful. Catch Me If You Can. With Janine Paul as a production designer,
Mm-hmm.
and she came to shoot in Quebec City and Montreal, and that was a really, really fun to do. You go even back further, Aviator, Martin
Mm-hmm.
Scorsese coming to Montreal to film, and being able to work with this level of experienced people is just unbelievable. So
Yeah.
there's a and then the big superhero movies that fell into my way, three X-Men projects. They just these really forged me as a, like, nothing's impossible. You
Yeah.
organize things and just gonna happen, and with the right people and the right team. So it made me understand fully what having the best people you can on a team, and how much that's worth. That was thanks to X-Men movies for that. And then coming
Mm-hmm.
out soon, Transformers 7. Once it's
Yeah.
released, yes. So looking forward to that one too. That was a couple of years ago we did that, but the post production, you can imagine, with all those robots, took a while.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
coming out in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be a fun one to see, in a different scale of movie too. That was
Wow.
huge. That was a huge project. So yeah, I mean, I didn't answer your question. I didn't say what was my favorite project.
That's okay. That's all right.
Now you understand.
Totally understand. My goodness. That's awesome. Thank you, Ben, for your for your question. That's great. Um, and let's see. Let me go here and see. Now, here's we'll do one here from Paula that and then I'll have maybe one more closing question. Then we're gonna share your website. In fact, Michele does have a website. In general, if you could, it's in the description of the stream. So Val, if you could get that ready to pull up for me, if you wouldn't mind, and we'll put that in the chat in just a second. Paula has a question. She says, "Where did you find the locations for the bodega and the fraternity? I guess where the party was at. Did you
Ye-
have to build, or did you have to build them?"
No, we didn't build any of that. It was we found the fraternity was actually a fraternity. You wouldn't believe
Mm,
it. It was just like that. I mean, we dressed it for Halloween, but
yes.
it was just like that. It was like perfect. You know?
It was like just what you
it's
were looking for.
it's at McGill University, near McGill
Okay.
University, and it's I mean, it's we walked in there, and I was, you guys want to shoot here? Like, is that you want it like that? It was really, I mean, I have to say, it's like in a condition where it's organized by students who don't take care of it much, so it was left to being quite dirty and the boys, the directors were just like, it's just perfect, just leave it like that, just leave it like that. So I was like the one location that was like, once we saw it, there was no going back, and then and then the bodega was kind of the same. We scouted a lot of places, but well, visited not with the directors but with the location scouts. We
Okay.
visited a few, and but that corner street, because of the size of the street, and plus the owner of the place was really willing to play. There wasn't much in the bodega. It was like more of a like a beer store, so there was a lot of
Okay.
crates and stacks, but it wasn't like a. So it was easy to empty. That's where I'm going with that. Uh,
Oh,
it was easy to empty, and so we filled it with our own stuff. Yeah, and that's an illustration for the development of it that was done by Mathieu Duchesne when we were discussing, lighting and signage and
okay.
street corner. So yeah, it's based on a photo of the location, but we added the Abe's Snake Bodega sign on it, and so yeah, that wasn't built. That was all done on location.
Wow.
It was
Cool.
yeah, a really an amazing location job there across the street, blocking that street. The location crew were just surpassed themselves on this movie.
Yeah.
We had the cream of the cream, so voila, that's what you get.
No, no doubt. It shows. I mean, I will say this, and I've said this since I've seen the movie the first time. I've seen the movie now. I think I'm up to seven, between 6 and 8 times now. I've seen the movie, and I'll be hitting it by 10 or 12 times within the next couple of weeks. And visually, since day one, I thought the movie looked fantastic. The look of the movie, everything in it, the look, the lighting, the tone, the colors, all of it just really struck me as just visually really sharp, really, really awesome. It captured New York, frankly, the tone. Now I've never been to New York, but I've seen a lot of movies and TV shows that are in actually on location. And I think you absolutely, for me, you pulled it off completely. It was believable, and it just felt right. It felt natural. It felt like I was there. I don't ever question it when I watch it, and I just think it was an amazing job. And I have to commend you again and say that this is one of the most visually amazing looking Scream films of the franchise, and this is my favorite franchise. And I really mean that. I've been saying that since I've seen the movie, long before I knew I was going to meet you. I mean that. So, applaud. My hats off to you. Seriously, I applaud your
Thank
work
you.
and
That's
your
nice of you
team.
to say. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
it
wow.
was a it's been a real pleasure. I mean, it's to me meeting those two directors was like a really nice surprise in my life. I wasn't never expecting to do a horror film and never wanting to do a horror film before I
Hmm.
had that script in my hand. I was like, ah, and and I was like, no, no, no. And when I met them, I mean, they're just doing films, they're
Yeah.
not doing horror film. They're doing films that they love for people that they care about, and they love
Yes.
this franchise and Wes Craven's
Hmm.
legacy. And I
Yes.
mean, they put so much pressures on themselves to be to a level of quality that. anything we could do to support that vision, and
Hmm.
to make this move to New York feel genuine and grounded and real, and not pastiche, not like a
Yeah.
phony New York look. But even though we weren't in New York City, I mean, the decision to come to Montreal was made before I was on the project. But
Okay.
we can do that in Montreal for sure. There's areas that really sell New York well.
Yeah.
Um, there's good tricks, movie tricks, classic wide shots that are real New York scenes that are introduced in there to help the
Yeah.
audience feel like they're really there. And then when we dive into the sets, you're already knowing
Hmm.
where you are, and it really certainly helps us believe that our streets are New York streets and all of that. But no, it was a super nice project to do with an amazing
Yeah.
team, both on the direction side and the art department side, and all the other departments that surrounded us, from stunts to lighting to grip to. It was just a big nice family, and everybody was really sad. The last day of filming was like, oh,
Oh.
I have to go to set, but I don't want to. I don't want to
Oh.
say bye.
I can imagine. Oh man.
So yeah, it was one of those. So yeah, really nice experience, and altogether very positive. So my first horror movie, is like I'm putting the bar really high for any other. Now it has
Well,
to be all that fun. It's like they all have to be
yes.
the same kind of amount of fun. But y- knowing I can do my job with so much pleasure, and
Yes.
not just about the pressure, but about the pleasure, is was like refreshing too. I mean, with doing all of these big films, Transformers included. You're like on a scale of management that it's so big. You have to
Hmm.
find the pleasure, but sometimes you forget about it. You're like swamped.
Sure.
But
Sure.
this movie, this as its scale, that was just about this, just big enough so that we could really hold it well. We had the
Hmm.
good crew to do it, enough people. The producers were behind us with that. Once we got the
Wow.
people, they were all supportive. So it was, yeah. Anyways, it was
That's
gonna stop,
awesome.
sending them flowers, but I love them all. Voila.
Well, rightfully so, and I think that's awesome that, and it just the movie was really good. I think everyone did an amazing job. I was really pleased with the performances of the cast, and again, the look of the movie and just all of the everything, the shrine, all the stuff we've talked about just was phenomenal. And tonight has been just a real joy. Excuse me, pardon me. It's been a real joy and a pleasure to get and the insight you've shared. Listen, I'm gonna go back and watch this replay and just listen to it all again, let it kind of soak in. And it was just so much great information. And I know that all of everyone that's been here tonight live and all that will be watch this later on replay throughout the coming weeks and months are going to really gain a lot of insight from your all your comments. And I'm not going to watch the movie the same anymore. This has given me a whole I'm serious. When I watch these scenes, I'm gonna remember these things. I'm gonna be like, oh, I know what's going on here in this subway scene. Oh, you notice this and that, and I know what's going on. It's really cool, and I just appreciate all the knowledge you shared tonight. This was a real blast.
Well, thanks for inviting me. It was really an honor to be getting your
Oh.
invitation, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, it's all
Really.
mine. So listen, Michelle, do me a favor. Don't go anywhere just yet. I'm going to meet you backstage like we started after we
Okay,
end the stream, and we can say our goodbyes in just a second.
great.
But to everyone in the chat, our time is up. We've gone a little over an hour, and so we're going to go ahead and wrap it here. I know I didn't get to everyone's questions, but I told you at the beginning I knew it would be impossible. But thank you all. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know you did. To hearing Michelle's comments and insight. Thank you for all who sent super chats for supporting the channel. Great questions. And be sure you all spread the stream out on your social medias. Let's spread the word so people can watch the replay. People need to hear Michelle's comments about this. Is fascinating. And don't forget, guys, Michelle has a website. I want you all to go to her website. It is literally her first and last name. It's Michelle Laliberte.com, and there's a link in the description of the live stream. I have it there. You can click it, And Val, if you happen to have that real quick before we end it, I would appreciate it if you could just throw it in there super fast in the stream so that you all can click it right now so that whenever the stream ends in like 30 seconds, you can all go there. And there's more pictures. Like I showed you some images, but she has more. And you know what, Michele, do you have 53 seconds to spare that we can show that time lapse?
Oh, sure.
If you
Yeah, no
sure?
problem.
Because I
I'll read the comments because I didn't see them before. I didn't want to get
oh
distracted from our
good.
conversation. But while you watch this, I'll take a time. But if you have questions, I
Wonderful.
can answer them. Just I'll be here.
Okay. Okay. I forgot. That's my fault. I would have played this earlier. So, guys, there is something really special. So, everyone, don't leave yet. So, this is a video that she has on her website, by the way. So, you can watch it again there. A time lapse of the set being built. You're going to recognize it when it's all over, what it is at the end. I'm not going to spoil that, but I want to show you this time lapse video. It's under a minute. And it's going to be full screen, so you're not going to see us, but we'll be able to talk. Let me go ahead and get ready to pull it up. So check this out, and okay, we're still here. We'll be back on camera in 53 seconds. Then we really will say goodbye. Here we go. Anything you want to say, Michele? Go ahead. It's up to you. You want to set this up at all?
Sure. Well, this is on stage in Montreal. So you see, it's like a really quick, but you see the plaster skins here being applied to the inner alley, the inside shaft, we were calling it. On the left of the image is Sam and Tara's apartment. On the right of the shaft was Danny's apartment. So you'll see our painters and everybody. The painters, you see the colors on the inside to the right are changing from blue to yellow to green. That's all the layers of heavy old paint that we've put on there to create the thickness and the layers and the texture of the set by our amazing painters team led by Alain Giguère, head painter. He's just a fantastic man. And then you see the inside of the space being painted at the end,
Uh-oh.
which to match the
Oh, that was
location
it.
we would cut. Voila. So
Wow.
that's it. You can watch it again and again. It's there. It's on this website, but it's it was just to show the amount of work and of people needed in there, and it's just not a one-man band at all.
No, my goodness, it's so incredible.
There's many people here with me, so I'll pass along your kind words, and all your comments are so generous and lovely. I'll make sure to share them with the team when I speak to them, or to share the link to this video so they can read them
Yes.
themselves.
Yes. Please, yeah, please do. Like I say, it's up from now on. I would love for them to be able to watch it and know that how much we appreciate all of their work as well. Everyone, just an amazing job. It really is, and everyone here is just thanking you and the team for all of the work that you did on this movie. It's just an incredible job. So. So once again, Michele, I'll meet you backstage. Once again, thank you so much. This was so fun, and I can't wait to see what's next. Transformers is next for you.
Yep,
So
Transformer coming out in a month or so. Yeah,
coming
June
out.
6th.
Wow. So there you go, guys. You want to see Michele's work coming up again? It's Transformers movie in a couple of weeks. That's going to be her work again on screen. So let's support her work there too. And let's see. I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. Oh my gosh, the visuals
Yeah, I
there.
was doing the art direction there. The production designer is Sean Howard. I have to
Okay.
lift my. I worked with him on this, and so he gets the design credits. I have to share.
Absolutely. That's fair. That's fair. Awesome. All right, guys. So, Michele, I'll meet you backstage. But everyone in the chat, thank you again for being here tonight. Always appreciate you. Thanks for your super chats, your generosity, and your support. I'll be back soon with another live stream. Stay tuned. Be sure and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like the live stream before you head out. Helps more people watch and find the video, rather, when it goes into replay mode. And check out Michele's website. She's got more images from Scream 6 that you won't find anywhere else, behind the scenes photos, and that time-lapse video, which you want to see that again. It's really cool. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much, and have a great night. Bye-bye.